Get the critical insights you need to prosper by water, economically, environmentally, and educationally. Don't miss this opportunity to join the conversation. Limited virtual capacity. Scan the QR code now to join the movement. Let's build a Nigeria that prospers by water with Code Blue.
In the heart of Africa's coastline lies Nigeria's greatest untapped opportunity. Yet too many remain sea-blind, unaware of the wealth beneath the waves. The Blue Economy Academy was created to eliminate sea blindness and unlock prosperity by water. With 10 dynamic sectors, from blue commerce to blue ventures, we offer a clear, practical framework. Join as a student, professional, executive, or a titan of the ocean economy. Gain access to premium courses, join national working groups, and connect with a growing community. Let's make the blue economy work for Nigeria. Join the tide of change. Become a member of the Blue Economy Academy and help Nigeria prosper by water. For years, a silent war was fought in our waters. A fight against pirates, saboteurs, and criminals who threatened our nation's economic lifeblood. This is the story of a force that stood ready. A navy that answered the call. The Nigerian Navy has won the first half of the victory. Through unwavering resolve, piracy in the Gulf of Guinea has been defeated, winning us international acclaim. We have brought calm seas to our nation. But calm seas without thriving coasts is only half a victory. The next battle is not with fire, but with focus. A battle to transform the Navy's security win into Nigeria's prosperity. To win this battle, we must change our strategy. From security as a cost to security as a product. This is the purpose of NIPOL, Nigeria's first national prosperity coalition. It is a Navy-led doctrine, an architecture for immediate action where security becomes the bedrock of investment confidence. NIPOL is a strategic handshake between the war room and the boardroom. It moves beyond the silos of marine and shipping to bring in every sector that touches our seas. Consider our vision for blue cities. Nigeria has 853 kilometers of coastline and 8 littoral states brimming with untapped potential. The private sector is ready to invest billions in coastal resorts and infrastructure, but they need an assurance no other institution can provide. NIPOL is that assurance. It is the platform where the Navy provides the security and state governors provide the access, allowing the private sector to deliver the prosperity. This is how the Navy gets a seat at the table from the very beginning, ensuring seamless security planning while simultaneously generating revenue, creating millions of jobs, and revitalizing our coastal communities. Admiral, the tides of our national destiny are changing. For the first time, a dedicated ministry and a national policy have given us the mandate to act. The space is open. This is the moment to pivot the Navy from a guardian of our waters to the guarantor of our prosperity. This is the legacy that awaits your leadership. When storms hit, mangroves stand between destruction and survival. These blue forests are our first and often last line of defense. Mangroves store up to 5x more carbon than rainforests. Seagrasses purify water. Salt marshes prevent floods. Together, they form a climate shield. In Nigeria, over 1/3 of mangroves have vanished, leaving coasts exposed and communities unprotected. What we lose in trees, we pay for in floods, hunger, and heat. But hope grows literally. Across Bayelsa, Cross River, and Lagos, communities are replanting, protecting, and profiting from carbon-rich ecosystems. Our coasts don't need concrete, they need roots. Let's rebuild what protects us all.
Nigeria has officially entered Code Blue, a new chapter in ocean intelligence powered by the Blue Economy Academy. Code Blue is our monthly national briefing series that brings together policy minds, industry leaders, and civic stakeholders to make sense of the opportunities that lie offshore, underwater, and on our coast. This is where we turn maritime insight into national strategy. Our maiden edition on July 29, 2025 sets sail with a landmark focus: blueprint to reality, mainstreaming Nigeria's 10-year marine and blue economy policy. We will unpack what the policy means beyond the paper and spotlight what government, industry, and of course citizens must do to implement it. With reflections from key public and private players, Code Blue aims to move Nigeria's blue economy from vision to value. Join us for this inaugural virtual voyage. Let's deepen the maritime awareness, shape national direction, and anchor new conversations that make Nigeria prosper by water. Welcome on board. Nigeria has officially entered Code Blue, a new chapter in ocean intelligence powered by the Blue Economy Academy. Code Blue is our monthly national briefing series that brings together policy minds, industry leaders, and civic stakeholders to make sense of the opportunities that lie offshore, underwater, and on our coast. This is where we turn maritime insight into national strategy. Our maiden edition on July 29, 2025 sets sail with a landmark focus: blueprint to reality, mainstreaming Nigeria's 10-year marine and blue economy policy. We will unpack what the policy means beyond the paper and spotlight what government, industry, and of course citizens must do to implement it. With reflections from key public and private players, Code Blue aims to move Nigeria's blue economy from vision to value. Join us for this inaugural virtual voyage. Let's deepen the maritime awareness, shape national direction, and anchor new conversations that make Nigeria prosper by water. Welcome on board.
We've mapped the moon better than our oceans. But that's changing thanks to AI, satellites, and smart tech that listen to the sea. A smart ocean is an informed ocean. Using sensors, AI, and cloud data, we can monitor fish stocks, track pollution, and even forecast climate threats. In Lagos, youth are coding maritime apps. In Calabar, AI tools are tracking trawlers. In Bayelsa, fishermen use SMS alerts to avoid toxic blooms. From oil tracking to weather alerts, data is becoming Nigeria's most powerful coastal tool. To lead, we need access to global tools, local training, and indigenous innovation. Ocean intelligence must be open, inclusive, and African-led. The ocean speaks in data. It's time we listened with purpose and with code. In the heart of Africa, a giant sleeps. Blessed with endless shores, intricate rivers, and vital lagoons, Nigeria holds a destiny written in water. Yet, for many, this vast inheritance remains unseen, a quiet backdrop to our daily lives. We call it sea blindness, the inability to truly see the lifeblood that flows through our nation. This blindness isn't just about what we don't see, it's about what we lose. Opportunities for jobs, for sustainable food, for clean energy, for global trade, slipping through our fingers. But one voice, and now a movement, dares to challenge this silence. We are a water-blessed nation. 853 kilometers of coastline, nearly 10,000 kilometers of inland waterways. This isn't just water, it's blue gold. It's our future, our prosperity, our collective well-being. The Blue Economy Academy is not just about identifying the problem, it's about igniting the solution. Through Blue for You, we are building a national movement, a blue congregation, to awaken this sleeping giant. It's about empowering you. Our mission is clear, the sea for all. That all may see. We believe that when every Nigerian sees the potential, they will own their role in building this incredible future. This is our moment. The time to turn potential into prosperity, to heal our waters, and to build a beautiful world for ourselves and generations to come. Your journey into the blue economy starts now. I invite you. Join our monthly online forums, become part of our Blue congregation. Let's share ideas, ignite passions, and together transform Nigeria's destiny. Your future is calling. Answer the call. Dive into your blue. Once, these waters were the world's most feared: piracy, theft, fear at sea. But the Nigerian Navy fought back and won. For 3 years, our seas have been calm. Piracy defeated. Waters secured. The Navy victorious. But calm seas alone are not enough. What next? Empty coasts. Idle hands. Youths with no trawlers to work on. Security without prosperity is only half a victory. America is a superpower because its security fuels its prosperity, and its prosperity funds its security. Nigeria too must embrace this duality. No arm of our military holds the key more than the Navy. The old battle was pirates, oil thieves, and poachers. The Navy won it. The new battle is poverty on our coasts, wasted blue wealth, stolen futures. This is the blue battle, the battle for prosperity, for jobs, for abundance. Admiral, history will remember not only the battles you won at sea, but the prosperity you unleashed from it. The ocean is Nigeria's greatest untapped treasure. From Lagos to Calabar, from Badagry to Bakassi, our waters carry the power to feed us, connect us, and propel our nation into prosperity. Yet for too long, we have turned our backs to the sea. Today, that tide must change. Our ocean is more than coastline. It is 853 kilometers of opportunity, 200 nautical miles of economic promise, and a lifeline for over 200 million Nigerians. 90% of our trade moves by sea. Millions depend on fisheries for their daily bread. And from offshore oil to renewable energy, our waters are the foundation of our survival. But with great wealth comes great responsibility. Our obligation is clear: to protect our waters from pollution, piracy, and neglect, to keep our seafarers safe, to sustain marine life for future generations, to govern our waterways with justice and foresight. If we fail, we risk not only our environment, but our very future as a maritime nation. Yet within every challenge lies opportunity. The blue economy can generate millions of jobs for our youth in shipping, aquaculture, shipbuilding, tourism, and marine technology. With innovation, skills, and vision, Nigeria can rise as Africa's true maritime giant. Our opportunity is not tomorrow. It is here. It is now. This is why the Blue Economy Academy exists, to eliminate sea blindness and ignite a blue awakening in Nigeria. Through knowledge, advocacy, and action, we are sowing the seeds of ocean literacy, so every Nigerian can see the water not as a boundary, but as a bridge to prosperity. All I want to do is to simply lead a blue awakening in Nigeria, to help my country prosper by water. On this World Maritime Day, Nigeria joins the world to say, our ocean. Our obligation. Our opportunity. Together, let us awaken to the power of the blue. Together, let us prosper by water.
The blue economy, a multi-billion-dollar frontier trapped by policy silos and regulatory gridlock. To unlock this wealth, technical expertise and political action must align.
I founded the Blue Economy Academy to provide the leadership required. We convene the experts.
We assemble a cast of policymakers, industry players, and financiers every month to huddle around prevailing ocean matters. Code Blue is Nigeria's monthly ocean intelligence brief. We convert ocean intelligence into policy action, milestones, and investments. Access the strategy now. Scan the QR code. Stop talking potential. Start executing the plan. Prosper by water.
Clue code activated. Nigeria's monthly ocean intelligence brief.
Nigeria has officially entered Code Blue, a new chapter in ocean intelligence powered by the Blue Economy Academy. Code Blue is our monthly national briefing series that brings together policy minds, industry leaders, and civic stakeholders to make sense of the opportunities that lie offshore, underwater, and on our coast. This is where we turn maritime insight into national strategy. Our maiden edition on July 29, 2025 sets sail with a landmark focus, blueprint to reality, mainstreaming Nigeria's 10-year marine and blue economy policy. We will unpack what the policy means beyond the paper and spotlight what government, industry, and of course citizens must do to implement it. With reflections from key public and private players, Code Blue aims to move Nigeria's blue economy from vision to value. Join us for this inaugural virtual voyage. Let's deepen the maritime awareness, shape national direction, and anchor new conversations that make Nigeria prosper by water. Welcome on board.
The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet. It generates life, connects economies, and holds boundless opportunities for sustainable prosperity. But for too long, Africa, and Nigeria in particular, has overlooked the vast potential of the blue economy.
That's why we created the Blue Economy Academy, BEA, to equip professionals, policymakers, and entrepreneurs with the actionable knowledge to unlock the wealth of our ocean-based industries.
The Blue Economy Academy is Nigeria's first specialized training hub, focused on preparing industry leaders for the evolving ocean economy. We train professionals in maritime, fisheries, offshore energy, coastal development, ocean finance, and governance, providing them with knowledge you can use. Our training model is built on 10 core pillars, covering every major sector of the blue economy, from sustainable shipping and offshore energy to ocean governance, climate resilience, and entrepreneurship.
The same way we have succeeded in building estates out of nowhere. There are places that are estates today that 10 years ago, if you mentioned it, and I still cringe that you mean there's an estate there. Would I love to live in those places? But when you see the drone view of those estates, when you hear people telling you that they live there, it's a miracle what the real estate sector has been able to accomplish. And we now know from the current rebasing of the GDP, the preliminary submission is that real estate has overtaken oil and gas in terms of GDP performance.
Whether you're a government official, a business leader, or an aspiring entrepreneur, the time to engage with the blue economy is now. Join us at the Blue Economy Academy and let's shape the future of ocean prosperity together.
Nigeria has long been behind the curve in leveraging its ocean assets, but with the right expertise, leadership, and strategic investment, we can become a powerhouse in the global blue economy.
At BEA, we do more than teach. We create industry impact by fostering innovation, partnerships, and investment opportunities in ocean-based sectors.
In the heart of darkness lies the power of light. Nigeria, rich in sun and oil, often overlooks a third gift, the ocean's energy. Tides that never sleep, waves that crash with force, winds that sweep the Atlantic. Nigeria's coastline holds immense, renewable energy waiting to be tapped. Globally, ocean energy is scaling fast. In West Africa, Nigeria is best placed to lead if it invests. New projects are exploring wave buoys, underwater turbines, and floating solar arrays. Startups in Lagos are working on energy harvesting seawalls and hydrogen extraction from seawater. With the right research, we could power homes, desalinate water, and energize ports, all from our waves. Challenges remain. High startup costs, grid integration, harsh marine conditions. But with public-private partnerships, local manufacturing, and training, we can leapfrog. Imagine rural electrification powered by tide. Imagine powering port operations with waves instead of diesel. Our oceans move endlessly, so should our imagination. The future of energy isn't just under our feet. It's rolling in, wave by wave.
Is West and Central Africa's only certified speaking professional. A powerhouse in public speaking, leadership development, and maritime strategy. He blends eloquence with economic foresight, championing Nigeria's transition from oil dependency to sustainable maritime prosperity. Please join me as we welcome the former special advisor to the Director General of NIMASA on communication and strategy, who is also the founder of Blue Economy Academy. Please celebrate Mr. Ubong Ession, PhD.
With regards to our business here today, in 2020, I had a fantastic privilege of being invited by the then DG of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamu, to be a special advisor on strategy and communications. I was minding my business, teaching public speaking and communication skills to very high-profile people. He was one of my students back then, and he felt, you can't be here, you need to come and work in government. And I said to him, hell no. Those are my words to him. Hell no. Leave me alone, let me mind my business. Until my wife intervened and my mentor, a man I respect so much, Professor Patu Tony, a man that I always say taught me a lot of what I know today, got on the phone and said to me, Ubon, what are you waiting for? You need some experience in government. And so I packed my bags and headed into the unknown to start a voyage in maritime. Now, I was thrown into that sector without any orientation. I had to work at the highest level with the chief executive day in, day out, and I had to learn very fast. The politics of it, And I'm glad I have an SSA here so he understands what I'm talking about. The politics of it, and of course, the technicalities of maritime. And one of the things I quickly discovered, which is really what is going to buoy what I share with you today, was that the real money is not in how much NIMASA collects or was collecting, or in those contracts. The real money, the real wealth was in the maritime sector itself, the entire ecosystem of what we now know and recognize as the blue economy. But before I proceed, permit me to also extend my respect and acknowledgement of the presence of the SSA to the Governor on Housing Ministry of Lagos State, Honorable Ayo Amodu. Honorable, my apologies, sorry, this just came to me. So we're in good hands. We have two SSAs here. So I feel a kindred spirit knowing the roles of special advisors to principal officers. And one of the things that I learned quickly, and I had what I would call the fortuity of leading, was the agency's Blue Economy Initiative, which we called From Crude to Blue. We are coming down to the real estate sector, but we need to know where the journey began. In other words, we have to start a conversation about our reliance on fossil fuels. Of course, it brings in most of our petrodollars. But does it really bring in, as a sector, the developmental expectations in terms of economics? 6 years ago, it was a report in the Nation newspaper. NLNG and NCDMB signed a $12 billion deal for LNG Train 7 to employ 10,000 people. Please, I want to crave your indulgence. Let's just deal with estimate values here. Can someone help me calculate $12 billion across 10,000 jobs? How much will it be per job? Anyone with any device, please. Help me out. $12 billion by 10,000 jobs. We are talking estimate values. We know that was an investment, but let us just cut the promoters of the project some slack. Let's say that was the total money meant for job and everything associated with it. What do we have per person? $1.2 million. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, $1.2 million multiplied by 1,500 naira. How much? 1.8 billion. 1.8 billion per job. This is the point I want to make. The expectation, and this is just very basic and simple economics, the expectation from that calculation alone is that for there to be any benefit, it would have to trickle down from each of those 10,000 persons. What is called trickle down economics. So if 5,000 of us decide to go and stash 50% of that money somewhere in the US, What is its economic value? It's practically zero. This scenario is just an example of how enclave in nature, how restricted in nature the oil sector is. It demands huge investments, huge capital outlays per project, but its economic effects is so limited, so restricted. That's why if I were to ask each of you here, if you know anyone that works in the oil sector, you'll have to rack up your head. It's an exclusive economy, it's an exclusive club. Nigeria cannot grow economically on the strength of an economy that is on the strength of a sector that is exclusive, enclave by nature. We have seen it. And so it makes sense for us to say, out of that 12 billion, estate surveyors and valuers, we're going to invest just 1 billion out of that 12 billion in real estate. What do you think will happen in terms of employment? I'm asking you, anyone? This is an open conversation now. You know your numbers, you know your business. Will it employ just 10,000 people? Estate players in the estate sector, will it employ just 10,000 people? Give me a guess. Give me a guess. $1 billion investment in real estate across, maybe let's say a PPP project. Let's say we're building some smart cities. Let's say we're building some set of estates. Can someone give me a number, please? Pardon? Over 20,000? Any other person? It certainly will be much more than 12 billion to 10,000. So I share this with you to present to you a picture of two cities, a tale of two cities, or a tale of two economies. Oil and gas, which we have relied upon to drive our economy, and then the blue economy, which in itself is an emergent economy, an expand sector. And we're going to see some of the thinking behind it. And if I am able to help everyone in this room, whether you're a policymaker or a practitioner, to shift your thinking, then the possibilities will be endless. So, the blue economy and the real estate development, the sea of opportunities before us. The World Bank tells us that if the ocean were a country, it would be the 7th largest economy in the world. Let's start with that premise. The 7th largest economy in the world. The 6th largest economy is the UK. So after the UK, the ocean economy would be the 2nd largest in the world. For very obvious reasons. 70% of our planet is water. 70%. And the economic sustenance of the planet itself, apart from the biology of it, is water. How? Global trade. (70% to 80% of global trade is maritime. Maritime is blue. Think about it. During COVID, no planes could fly. No cars could run. We all got stuck. Everybody sat back at home. Only one place on earth was active. the sea lanes of the world, transporting goods, supplies, equipment to help nations survive. Why? Because most of what we consume is delivered to us by water. So this is another important premise, because if we do not understand the context, every attempt we make to try to break into the blue economy from a blue cities perspective, which is one of the buckets of the blue economy, will challenge us and could even discourage us. So whether we like it or not, this is what the blue economy is about. So let's look at some definition of the blue economy, and let's take what the World Bank tells us about the blue economy. The World Bank says that the blue economy is the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth. It didn't say for revenues, and we have to begin to shift this mindset away from revenues. Revenues are essentially meant to be a fallout of actual growth. There's too much fixation on revenues without growth. It is not a sustainable approach. Revenues are given when economic growth takes place. You are generating so much revenues and it leaves nothing in terms of economic impact and growth. What it means is that when next we go in search of revenues, we have to increase the toll. That's what it means. So the oceans are there untapped because there's no growth. And all of the values. So whether we're in government, the fixation of revenue, the fixation towards revenue, or the fixation on revenue has to be modified, has to be tempered. Likewise, for those of us in business who are also fixated on revenues, how do I make money? It is not a sustainable approach without creating growth. Because what guarantees revenue in perpetuity is ensuring that the growth engine continues to run. If you're coming constantly for revenues, like the concept of Stephen Covey's work, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, when he talked about the golden goose, the goose that lays the golden egg. Each morning the farmer goes in, the goose lays an egg, he takes it to its golden cells. Every morning he keeps going down. He got so tired, he said, look, why don't I just slice the goose open and take all the eggs? Well, there's a problem with that. In the final analysis, you can take all the eggs, then there's no more goose. That's a classical example of over-fixation on revenues alone, or on making money alone. There must be growth. The farmer ought to have been thinking of, oh, all right, I have one goose laying a golden egg. What do I need to do to expand capacity? That's what the blue economy is about. So it is a call to us to know that we must take steps, make the necessary commitments, make the necessary investments towards ensuring that there's growth, and then the money we're looking for will come. There's money, the blue economy. So let's go back to our definition. The sustainable use of ocean resources. The ocean has a lot of resources. Those resources are within the ocean. Those resources are also above and around the ocean. And those resources are also adjacent the ocean. If I wanted to define the blue economy simply to the average Nigeria, I would say everything water. Whatever is inside the water, your fishes, your shrimps, those living organisms and plants, whatever is beneath at the bottom of the water, the resources you can mine from it. Whatever is on top of the water, your ability to carry out transportation activities. And then, of course, the fallout effects of what happens on the coasts or the adjacency value of water, meaning coastal communities, trading taking place along that line, the development of estates along that line, hubs. That entire ecosystem would be my own definition or explanation of what the blue economy means, so that the average Nigerian understands it and appreciates it, because Nigeria is a coastal state. Nigeria is supposed to be thriving via the blue economy. That is the understanding we are yet to inject fully into our minds. Many people live in Lagos but don't even have that appreciation that Lagos used to go by the appellation state of aquatic splendor. Now that sounds like a mouthful. But that's blue economy. So those are your ocean resources. And it says when we use these ocean resources, certain things must happen. First, economic growth. Second, improve livelihoods. There are people living around water bodies that are worse off. That is not blue economy. That's like brown economy. They are worse off. So that's not blue economy. It must improve their livelihoods. So whether it is to enable them go to schools, go to good schools, get medical support, and be as comfortable and have some measure of decency, improved livelihoods, it's a factor. And then, of course, it must create jobs. Jobs. It must create jobs. Employment, so that the people within that area can have a decent means of getting income to sustain their lives. And then, lastly, it must also preserve the health of the ocean ecosystem. So, as you begin to prepare your minds to go into the blue economy, from a real estate standpoint, you must understand what the blue economy actually means and what the 5 key elements represent. So that when you design projects, when you plan projects, when you propose or market or execute projects, all these elements must be there. So if you're building marinas, for instance, because those are the things we should begin to take for granted along our coasts. If you're building seaside estates, luxury estates, hotels, which cost so much more to be in, or take, we shouldn't go too far, take the Eco Atlantic, for instance. If you're doing all of this, you must keep in mind whether you're participating as a financier or participating as a transaction advisor or participating as a natural builder. You must keep these things in view. Sustainability, economic growth, which is where you make your money, improving the livelihoods of those within that context, making sure that you're asking yourself, how many jobs are we creating? And then ensuring that matters such as pollution are addressed. We take a look at our water, there's so much that needs to be done in that regards. Plastics in waters everywhere. These things have to be looked at collectively to ensure that we meet the definition of what the blue economy actually represents. I'm going to move on by showing us some facts and figures concerning the blue economy and why it is such an imperative. Globally, the blue economy is worth about $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion globally. Africa has managed, according to the AFDB, to capture about 296 of that economic value. And then Nigeria is positioned as having 10% of that. Understandably, we have a very expanded coast. From Badagry here in Lagos to Bakassi in Cross River or thereabouts, 853 kilometers. These are just conservative estimates to show us the potential. $30 billion. Can the blue economy bring us at least $1 billion? $1 billion is how much in Naira terms? 1.5 trillion? Is it? 1.5 trillion. These are the considerations, these are the things we must have at the back of our minds as we engage in this conversation. And I'm hoping, which is going to form one or two of my recommendations, that FIABC can begin to take the lead. Not just in advocacy. We are past the stage of advocacy. We are way, way, way behind. I'm talking now about engagement. Reaching out. Reaching out. Yes, we need policies. But don't wait for policies. I remember one of my famous motivational quotes. I used to do a lot of motivational speaking when I first started out some 25 years ago. It says, I couldn't wait for my ship to come in, so I had to swim out to it. I couldn't wait for success to come to me. Yes, that's the exact quotation. I used to use it back then. If you ever read the Achievers Manual that I published back in the day, I couldn't wait for success, so I had to swim out to it. So FIABC, NIESB, that's the mindset you must have. You do have government officials here. I am sure for a state like Lagos, Lagos is the center of excellence. Lagos always leads. There are some policy initiatives. We see that even in the various designations. But there are some policy elements that you are going to have to be the one to prod them to do. That's why it's called private sector-led initiative. 13 years ago, Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, because he wanted to deliver packages swiftly, after starting Amazon Prime, which was one-day delivery, was not satisfied with just one-day delivery, he wanted instant delivery. So what did he do? He started test running drones to deliver packages within 30 minutes. That was 13 years ago. Sorry, 2002, yeah, 2025, 13 years ago. Sorry, 2012, I beg your pardon. And 60 Minutes had an interview with Jeff Bezos, and he said, look, I've done this. The problem that we have is that the FAA, that's the Federal Aviation Administration, they are so far behind. What you have just test run is confusing them. Think about it. Sometimes it has to be that way. Sometimes it has to be that way. That's why it's called a partnership. Government needs all the partnership it can get from those of us in the private sector. All the partnership. And don't just sit back and wait for policies. You can no longer rely on just advocacy and appeal. You've now got to move into engagement. And when we're talking of engagement, you're saying, for instance, FIABC, we're going to visit the governor of Lagos State. Lagos is a coastal city. We have some leverage. Some of our members are in the cabinet. We are not going there to say, Mr. Governor, as you know, the blue economy is this, that, and the other, and we need to tap into it. The ship has left the shore on that long ago. Kenya is doing far better than we are. We are behind, but we have the mass to actually, once we get it right, overtake any African nation. You're going to say, if you can open up this space for us, PPP arrangement, the final say on occupancy is the governor. The same way we have succeeded in building estates out of nowhere. There are places that are estates today that 10 years ago, if you mentioned it, I still cringe. That you mean there's an estate there. Would I love to live in those places? But when you see the drone view of those estates, when you hear people telling you that they live there, It's a miracle what the real estate sector has been able to accomplish. And we now know from the current rebasing of the GDP, the preliminary submission is that real estate has what? Has overtaken oil and gas in terms of GDP performance. That should tell us that there's something there. We should all be paying attention to it. So you've worked this miracle on the land. We're saying it's time to take your miracle powers to the waters. Is it going to be easy? No. If you have to help the public officials with writing the policy, write it. Thankfully, we have enough technology to help shape a lot of these things. With the advent of artificial intelligence, we can quickly on a dashboard see what global best practices are and make the necessary adjustments. So you have to needle them. Absolutely, you have to needle them. Because sometimes the public sector is usually a laggard. Jeff Bezos wanted drone delivery. FAA couldn't catch up with it. I'm told that drone delivery just started in the UK last year or 2 years ago. The private sector has to be very aggressive. And that's why I use the term engagement over just advocacy. Because at the advocacy level, we're talking. At the engagement level, you are putting something on the table. And you are placing a challenge on the table. To say, give us this space. Give us this. Clear this space. If all you can do is open it up with the most minimal infrastructure as your own investment in this partnership, do it. And then we can take it off from there. All right, so the next thing I want us to focus on, I want to show us a picture of some of our maritime assets as a nation, to just give us that level of clarity as to what we are sitting on and as to what we actually have in our possession as a nation. So here are some of our maritime assets. 853 kilometers of coastline. We've mentioned that. Those 8 littoral states: Lagos, Ogun State, Ondo State, Delta, Rivers. There is Akwa Ibom, my state. Although I think I'm more of a Lagosian than an Akwa Ibom person because I was born and brought up here, and I'm not sure they've seen me in my state. Over 10 years, 15 years. Even when I worked in NIMASA had an office and projects there. It was those projects I was unfortunately not able to go and participate in. Cross River is also there. Bayelsa is there. We have 8 of these states. So we have what I call the keys of the Atlantic. And international law says that from the coastline right to 200 nautical miles, everything around the waters, inside the waters, belongs to us. Everything. So everything you can build there in terms of real estate is yours. And by the way, I was talking with my friend Bidomi this morning. I said, look, I have a slightly different view to the concept of real estate than the general one, which is, if we talk about real estate, it means that you own landed property and all that. That for me, real estate is permission to mint something. In this case, to mint money. That's what it is. Now, at the School of Eloquence, we have a license from the NBC to operate a TV channel called the Achievement Channel. And on that license, it says nationwide. What do you think MTN's real estate is? It's not the mass or the masts and what have you. Its real estate is where? The airwaves. That is MTN's real estate. And that's why they say everywhere you go. That's real estate. So we need to begin to look at all of this. And I want to challenge you. So if I have a TV license that says nationwide, that means that my real estate, as far as broadcasting is concerned, is that space. The NBC gave us that license the same way the NCC gave MTN that license. And it's the same way the governors give you what? C of O. Because you know that the land is not permanently yours. Now, I don't know that I'm giving some governors ideas to begin to give water C of O's or blue C of O's here. But anyway, if they use it, they should make sure they pay me because so water itself is real estate. That's what we're saying, because we're talking economics here. And until we begin to think ocean-centric views, we may not be able to translate our success on land to the sea. So we have 8,500 kilometers of inland waterways. Now, this is very interesting. So when we talk about the blue economy, it's not just what happens along the coast. The coastline is the frontier. That's why I believe very strongly that it is the 8 littoral states that represent the actual frontiers for the blue economy. FIABC find a way to engage with each of these states, understand their needs, do a proper needs analysis as it relates to real estate. That is going to be your linkage. Because what we're trying to do here is simply convergence. How do we bring about a convergence of real estate prowess with blue strength, which is our comparative advantage? When we say blue, we're talking about the waters, and then create an economic outcome that rewards the players, and also do it in a sustainable manner that provides employment and uplifts the livelihood of all parties involved. This is the thinking of the blue economy. So the 8 littoral states are the frontiers, but inside the country, within the country, I call those 20 states, all connected by water, inland waterways network. We call them the blue corridors. 20 states in Nigeria can be linked within through water. And we have 8,500 kilometers of these inland waters. So think about those top two, 853 kilometers coastline, and then 8,500 kilometers in-house. I'm going to spare you most of these others and then show you what I mean. Opportunities of the blue economy. This is our coastline. And there are cities everywhere here. There's Badagry, Ojo. These are all coastal, potentially coastal cities, because that's where we are going to. Coastal cities. Look all the way right down to Bakassi. This is what we have for free. Every day we wake up to it. Economic possibilities that will not destroy the environment, that will create more jobs, guarantee more security, because if there's more development along these coastlines, it reduces insecurity. This is where the money is. Of course, I mentioned earlier on about what we have, our inland waters. So, my dear friends, I want to quickly point you to the buckets of blue opportunities. Let me tell you, you think you have made money, You haven't made money. If you're a long-term thinker and you can take or make the first mover's advantage, and of course, real estate business is a long-term business. This is where the money is. Every time I travel abroad, I pay more for the hotel room I stay in, as long as that hotel is closer to a water body, than I pay for a regular hotel where normal people like you and I stay. Why? Blue economy. always a blue tax. We are enjoying this fresh breeze. I stayed at one hotel in Greece called Kiani Atti 2 years ago when I attended Posidonia, which is the annual event on maritime, on shipping globally. Because the Greeks are the leaders. The Greeks control about 30% of shipping globally. That's why they could manage their major economic crisis. Their economy, their maritime strength, their blue strength was out of this world. Countries like Singapore, all they are doing, they control 25% of maritime labor, seafarers. So imagine what those young boys from ships are repatriating. It gets to a point where nobody is bothering about revenues that government is collecting, but the collective effect, the collective blue effect from blue activity is significantly flowing in. I'm not just talking about trickle down when one person makes $1 million. No, that's trickle down economics. It's risky, it's unpredictable. But when it is a flow and it flows, you know that everything in that hemisphere is going to feel the effect of the current. That's the power of the blue economy. So when we are showing you this rug of water that we are lifting, we are showing you that, let me use a Yoruba expression, "Nkan bembe." That's what we're telling you. That's what we're telling you. So it's a bucket of blue opportunities. So I'm just going to leave you, before I go into Q&A, by just showing you the 10 buckets of blue economic activities so that you can decide which one you want to fetch from. The 10 bucket. That's why we call this an expanse economy. You don't need to be too sophisticated, having learned special drilling skills to participate. Just look for which bucket is nearest to your capability and begin to show interest. So what are those 10 buckets? At the Blue Economy Academy, I founded the Blue Economy Academy after my time in NIMASA. I said to myself, okay, I've had government experience, and it was a fantastic privilege, and I'll always be thankful to my boss, Dr. Jamo, who fought tooth and nail. He fought his way to ensure that I took up that job, up to the point of getting my wife involved. You know, when your wife comes and says to you, why don't you rethink it? It means that even in your house, you can lose elections. I'm telling you. That's what it means. And so I took on that job, and I learned a lot because I actually participated. All the things we did, we came up with a document called From Crude to Blue. I was sharing that with the chairman, with the chairman of Lagos FIAPSI. Sorry, Lagos NIESB earlier on. And so these are the buckets I want to show you at the Blue Economy Academy, which was what I started after I left NIMASA. And look, I don't want this knowledge to go to waste. Let's begin to share knowledge, inspire people, educate people about the blue economy. So there are 10 buckets, and this is where I'll leave it and take questions. Bucket number 1, as you can see, is what we call blue what? Blue commerce, trade, shipping, movements of goods and services. Can you imagine blue commerce? Moving palm oil to Lagos by sea. It will be cheaper. You'll be able to do more volumes. You'll evade, the usual wahalas on the road I will not mention. And then you'll be able to do so much more. Blue commerce. So transportation itself is one. The second one is what we call blue bounty. Blue bounty simply means aquatic life. In terms of fish, shrimps, and the ton of what you can harvest for food. The third one is what we call blue power, sustainable energy. Nigeria still has a lot to do in that regards. Renewables, wind farms, and all the rest that we can get. As we're struggling with our power as a nation, it has to be one of the options that we incorporate into our energy mix as a nation. Then the one that I think concerns you the most is blue cities, coastal infrastructure, coastal estates. I would prefer to live near the ocean and enjoy the breeze, because the breeze is better if you're nearer the ocean. Have you noticed? It's better. Then you have a host of others. You have Blue Capital. How do we raise money? And Fiapchi, this is going to be very important for you to engage and encourage your financiers to begin to think in terms of what we call blue bonds. Blue bonds. We have a series of programs at the Blue Economy Academy where we go into each of these buckets. It's a course you take for about a month to understand the total dimensions of the blue economy before you begin to get involved. Blue Capital, because our finance just institutions need to learn these things. We now have green bonds. There are various ways to raise money, raise capital for your projects. But if your players or if your financiers don't have the understanding and what the rules are, they are not going to be able to provide that support meaningfully. Then there's blue governance and justice, and I'm glad we have a government presence here. There is the kind of awareness that is required to function in that space. So lawyers have a place here. If you're a lawyer, I would advise you to begin, if you are serious about the economics of your profession. This is one of the most untapped aspects of the legal profession. I could count the number of maritime lawyers I met during my 3 years at NIMASA. And yet, that was a sector that required so many lawyers in terms of specialization, not to talk about blue governance and justice. Then Blue Nexus is about biotechnology and all of the various intersections of technological applications to drive the blue economy. Then we have Blue Climate. It's very important for those of us who care about the environment. Thankfully, every state now has a Ministry of Environment, and there are actions being taken because we must be stewards, worthy stewards of the environment. As we take resources from it, we must preserve it so that there will be a place to go back to continue and make it sustainable. And then we have Blue Talent. I mentioned the Philippines. 35% of seafarers in the world today, global supply of seafarers are Filipinos. Pardon? You consent to it. Thank you very much. They are Filipinos. And you know the interesting thing? In maritime, you get paid in dollars. Because maritime is international. So Blue Talent is there, capacity building there, and then finally Blue Ventures, the kinds of businesses we need to set up. Young entrepreneurs need to begin to think, startups in the blue sector, in the blue economy. So these are the things I want us to understand. It is not in my place to educate you. I am the least qualified to educate you when it comes to the specs of your business in real estate. I've only come here to shed light to help project what the trend is as far as this emerging sector is concerned. It's only emergent for us in Nigeria. It is a sector that has taken hold globally. And to challenge us to begin to think about making Nigeria blue. More blue is what we need. More blue so that we will not suffer the blues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was another big ocean of knowledge that we have just shared with us today. So we'll take Q&A. Because we don't have so much time, we'll take just 3 people. I know we have more questions, so I'm going to take in the order in which we raise our hands. So I have number 1. Please note that, sir. Do we have any other question in the house? Oh, we are all okay. Are you raising your hand? So number 2, sir.
Okay.
I think that's okay. We are all together. Your name, sir, your family, and your question.
My name is David. Good afternoon, everyone.
You say David?
I represent PIOCCI, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is a global body of 36 million Indians working abroad. And I work the African region. I represent 54 countries from Lagos. Let me tell you, I don't want to have a question. As Professor Wong said, I use the word professor. Most of these things, like, what you brought, I just want to have some supplements with your permission. because when you are speaker of the day and you are trying to make it a theme today. Let me add to it, and I want all of us to, see in practicality some of those things what Professor has mentioned today, which many countries have achieved. The first thing what is started with the village, towns and cities. If you have time to, I welcome you to India and come to a state called Tamil Nadu. There is big temple from 7,000 kilometers far from Tamil Nadu coast called Angkor Wat in Cambodia. And those villages, if you see even today, there are houses which are not less than 6,000 to 8,000 square feet, the minimum smallest house. Because that shows when you are at the coastal city, you can connect to the whole world. So I just wanted to supplement Professor on this issue, number one. Number two, we mentioned an inland waterways. Thanks to our current government in India, they are working tirelessly and with safe cost. Not only cost, the headache that we see on Nigerian roads. I just put in one number. For me, India has got a very big coastal, I don't remember the numbers, I think it was 5,000 kilometers or so. So earlier, we used to produce something in Kolkata from eastern part of India and you take to western part of India. It will cost you 15 rupees per kilometer with fuel, toll and all the nonsense on the road. Because to tell you, Nigeria is just a pilot of India, what India used to be for 20 years ago. So you have seen all those things. So today, the same thing, you pay 1.5 rupees. You see how the water line can help us. We're struggling on the road and the quantity. So Professor, that is the second thing that I wanted to supplement.
Right. Thank you.
The third thing that what I wanted to add to this gathering here is, let me tell you, yes, it is not a matter of government. Those who are still sleeping and waiting for the government to do, government may not come. Whose government is that? Who they represent? Who are those gentlemen sitting on the office? Please, go and engage them. He's right. The whole world is waiting, not for a decade. They have done enough advocacy has done. If you don't engage, the delay is yours. Your country is established. You are established. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. India is one of the leading maritime nations in the world today. We can't, maritime and blue economy, we can stay here and go on and on and on. As you can see, I still have like 4 or 5 slides, but again, that's why you have to come to the Blue Economy Academy, because we sit you down and we take you into it to understand what the dimensions are that we're dealing with. Then you take your own slice, your own bucket, and say, look, 10 buckets, I think this one bucket is enough for one lifetime. Let me now begin to drink from it and drill into it. Oceans of opportunities. In fact, think of the ocean this way, or the blue economy this way. Think in terms of vastness, as vast as the seas are, and think in terms of depth. Vastness and depth. That is what defines the true riches that are available with regards to the blue economy.
Thank you so much, Peter. I want to first of all take a lead from what Ms. Ishra. And you are briefing on the balance of your country. Yes, the vastness you described here, the depth. Your country has understood it and happening to it. I will tell you, we also understand it here. Unfortunately, we have a lot of bottlenecks that have made us to stand still, and we are not tapping into the resources. And I must tell you that the main source of the strength that we're supposed to receive to tap into the resources is even the major cause of the problem, and that is the government and the bottlenecks we put around. I was privileged to be present the day that the first inland waterway